Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel, Cynicalex, and this is the Betsy Braddock experience featuring holy cow damage. Now I know what I had said in my previous video that, oh, Betsy doesn't seem like she is going to be that OP for PvP. Okay, I may have been wrong. I may have been underselling it a little bit here, and we are also underplaying it a little bit here, but that's fine. It's better to underpromise and overdeliver. So this uniform is a humongous upgrade for Psylocke, now known as Betsy Braddock, and basically it comes down to everything, a top to bottom change for her damage wise, the transcended skill, this crazy new heal, and then she's going to keep all of the regular abilities that she had that were making her very good for other content, like World Boss Ultimate that you're not going to be able to see here. So this run is a little bit scuffed right now, but we're under a minute in, and we're already closing in on the end of the road here for Knull Phase 1. And this is stage 40, by the way. Let me remind you of that. Now, some people will immediately look at her regular proc, or her regular non-transcended skill rotation, and be like, this is giving me shades of Human Torch. I'm not going to lie to you. Her regular 4-5 combo could do more damage, but that's huge. A minute 20 for her on stage 40 means that she can probably climb for you without a reforged CTP. Now, to put this into perspective, here's what we're gonna do, because it's a little bit difficult, and I think the mutants, I realized, and I'm gonna say it now, the mutants have a bit of an uphill battle here because they're coming up against the incumbents, and you're gonna immediately compare Betsy here to Shang-Chi and Spider-Man. Not this Spider-Man, the black and gold Spider-Man. Both of those characters can take full advantage of the White Fox buffs, which is actually all of the buffs that Betsy can take advantage of, plus 60% damage to villains. So the difference here is, well, for Spider-Man, the difference is actually 120% damage to villains, because his uniform has 60%, and then White Fox is giving him 60%. But okay, we're going to do Shang-Chi this time around. We're not going to be doing Spider-Man, because Spider-Man doesn't have a CTP, and Shang-Chi has a Rage, and Rage is perfect compared to Judgment because both of these CTPs don't require a proc activation, so I don't have to worry about being on the proc or off the proc. But just keep in mind that my rotation with Betsy was less than outstanding. I definitely could have done that a little bit faster. I would have said if I had made all of my procs and if I had dodged both of the cages, I did get partially stunned by one of the cages, then she could have done that in about 65 or 70 seconds. So we'll call it 70 seconds. Now let's take a look at what Shang-Chi is doing. And keep in mind that I have practiced this dude's rotation for ages to be able, well, I didn't pull it off really well here, but I've been practicing it for a long time so that I can actually pull it off, okay? So just bear with me here. But we're gonna go ahead and do this. We're gonna do the co-op skill, yada, yada, yada. Okay, gonna heal up here, blah, blah. Boom, 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 boom. Very nice. And now this takes a lot of practice. Oh, I was early. Oh, I goofed that up. Okay, we lost one cage there. That's fine, because we're back at it again, like Daniel. There we go. Get a decent proc. Oh. I was gonna say get a decent proc and dodge that, but I guess we could not, unfortunately. Oh, I had to press the 5 a little bit early to dodge the tentacle, otherwise, yep, it would have stunned me, literally just like that. And there we go. So this now puts it into very good perspective. This is a very good comparison here. And this is where you start to get blown away. You're like, hang on a second, Alex, what you're saying is Betsy without her best supports and without the best support in the game, White Fox, is actually going as fast as Shang-Chi with the best support in the game. Now this starts to look better, a lot better. So I think I was undervaluing her a little bit here, but yes, she is very good. Is she the best character in the game for PvE content? No, that title belongs to Makari, Supergiant, and Spider-Man. Surprise, surprise. And maybe Sharon Rogers if you never get hit because she has low HP and low heal. However, if she's outside of that top 5, that's not a bad place to be at all. And Shang-Chi is very close to that top 5. And I think Betsy is right there next to him. And what I want to remind you guys of is That was really weird. Shang-Chi and Spider-Man have their best support in White Fox. Betsy and the mutants don't have their best support yet. And I say that because in the future, it's very possible that Dazzler or another mutant comes out. Maybe there's another mutant they're going to come out with that has support buffs, right? It's definitely possible. They could please finally start releasing new characters. However, even if they don't, check this out. Dazzler's passive. Let's just remind ourselves. Not only does she has the does she have the buff that you can pass? I believe it's this buff here, Disco Spin, or it's Showstopper. One of her buffs she can pass. But look at this passive. All mutant allies get 70% ignore dodge, which means that I could have used those 3 ignore dodge strikers for Betsy as something else, because Betsy's 40% ignore dodge plus Dazzler's is 110. And then she also gives 65% damage to boss types, which is a full 20% higher than Sif was giving, not to mention the ignore dodge. And not to mention any other buffs that a future Dazzler might have with a uniform, etc. So it's really, you really got to put it into that context, because when you strip away the buffs, right, when you take away these support characters and you test just the raw output, Betsy is right there with Shang-Chi, and she's not that far behind Spider-Man, which then becomes very impressive considering how lackluster she was beforehand. Now, of course, it's a huge upgrade for her. But anyways, let's get into the build. Let's talk about the rotation. Let's talk about some mistakes I made as far as mentioning the CTP only thing, and then we'll get into a little bit more content here. So I'm rocking 54,400 energy attack and just under 70,000 HP. Giggity. We've got 3 Odin's Blessings here with crit damage and crit rate. I would like to give her more Odin's Blessings, but I'm holding back a little bit at the moment because of, I want to see what the full January update is. But there we go with the stats. Pretty much everything is capped, and dodge would be important to cap for Betsy. I'm not saying it's the most important thing, but if you're having trouble surviving, even though she has the heal on 3, if you're having trouble surviving, I would say up the dodge a little bit. That's definitely going to help, and I definitely saw a bit of an upgrade on her survivability when I bumped up her dodge by about 15%. It was at about 60%. And then for the rest of the build here, we have the stage 10 Power of Angry Hulk. We do not have the artifact equipped yet. Okay, keep that in mind. When the artifact gets equipped, she's gonna get a big old bump and a big old jump and bump, because she's gonna get a 70% chance to increase her crit damage to 225%, which is big. And then we do have the CTP of Judgment. It's got a good chain hit and a 200 proc, but it does only have a 21% basic attack. So this could be rolled higher. I could get an extra 5% all attack, which would translate into a couple thousand more energy attack there. And then we've got the mythic uniform with the all mythic options featuring Winter Soldier, Corvus, Luke Cage, Hulk, and Professor Baldy. Now, as far as her rotation goes, she has a buff on 3, she has a buff on 4, and she has a damage proc on 5, and then she has the standard buffs on 6. However, you can insta-cancel 6, you can insta-cancel 3 and 4 for the buffs, you can insta-cancel 3 and 4 for the buffs, and you can delay cancel 4 for the hits, but you really don't want to cancel 5. Even though 5 has a damage proc and you're tempted to pass the damage proc onto 6, 5 actually does more damage than 6, 6 has a really long delay on the hits, and 6 also it just isn't as good as 5. I don't know what it is. 6 you can also instant cancel. So the basic rotation for her, because of the long delay at the beginning of the 6 skill, is actually to go 3 cancel 6, cancel 4, delay cancel 5. That was a little bit sloppy there, but you basically get the combo here. So one more time, just a faster version of this: 3, 6, 4, and then as she moves forward, you go into 5 and you let it play out. That's a rotation that you can use with a proc and with a CTP of Judgment. That's sort of the opening rotation: 3, 6, 4, 5. And then you just let 5 play out, and you can maybe splash in a little bit of 2 or 1 at the end, but I don't really suggest it. However, there is one problem, and I'll show you guys the problem in game, and it's basically that the movement on her third skill is not necessarily the movement, but her third skill only has a heal if you don't cancel it. And so what I find when I'm watching other content creators, and they're doing an amazing job, but it's basically going to mirror your playstyle. If you do the rotation that I'm talking about here, you're going to do the most damage, and you're going to have the buffs on at the right time, but when you get hit, you're not going to have the heal up. So I'm going to take a little bit of damage here, and you're going to see, I'm just going to purposely stand in this pool here, and we're going to lower her HP down to about 50%. Okay, so now we're going to go back to this 3 cancel 4 into 5 combo. And you'll notice that I'm not getting any heals. There's no healing. And I'm going to do this full combo here again. Okay, and you're like, Alex, I thought you said she had a heal. She's about to die, bro. What's going on? Why is Betsy dying? Because you're not pressing the third skill and letting it play out. So although the third skill has a frenzy buff that you want, you actually need to let the third skill play out for her to get the heal. And the heal's very good. 17,000 HP 3 times. It's a very good heal. But you have to let it play out. She also has a heal on her 5th skill, but that is tied to charm damage. And she does not deal charm damage, or she doesn't deal the charm effect in World Boss Legend because of the bosses having immunity. So because of that, you won't actually see that heal. I'll show you the heal here with this team, but yeah, that doesn't trigger in World Boss Legend. So you basically have a decision to make. You can either do the optimal rotation, or the simplest rotation, where you do 3 cancel 6 cancel 4 delayed cancel 5, and then 3 cancel 4 delayed cancel 5. And you can do that like this, right? And then as she moves forward, you cancel. Okay, I guess she did too much damage and we just killed Proxima. Dope. Okay, so you can do that, but then what's going to happen is over time in the fight, you're going to get hit. Knull's going to hit you, Mephisto's going to hit you, whatever. And then at some point, you'll have to use the third skill defensively to heal. You can also use the third skill defensively to move away from the enemy, because it's a V-pad skill. So it actually has a lot of really fun utility, and I like it. But that's basically the situation, unless you do a different rotation. So for example, let's say I use the 3 here. I can actually move away, and see, I still get the heal even though she's not hitting Proxima, but I can actually choose to move away. And so basically I'm taking damage here, and what I can do is when I use 5, you can see there's a crazy heal. See that 5,000 HP popping off? There's like 100% heal there. I actually want to see if I take a whole bunch of damage, can I heal myself up back to full HP? We're going to take a little bit of damage here. Wow, it's basically a full heal. That's crazy. That's really good. So even a tier 2 Betsy with a bad build is basically like Moonstone as far as her healing goes. She actually has 2 heals. So she has some really incredible World Boss Ultimate and other PvE healing if you can apply Charm to the bosses, because you're going to trigger that Charm heal. Oh, she's at the top here. And then you also have that guaranteed heal regardless. So the guaranteed heal pops off for 16% 3 times. So that's almost 50% healing. That's 48%. And then this one here, it's unlisted, but this will also heal you for whatever it is, 5,000 HP. And that procs like 100 times. So basically, it's basically a 90 to 100% heal as long as you can apply Charm to the bosses. But I haven't talked about the rotation if you're getting hit. If you're getting hit a lot and you're dying a lot and you don't want to waste a rotation or waste time just pressing 3, then you can do a modified rotation, which is what I prefer to do with the CTP of Judgment, because the third skill actually has decent damage on it. It actually does. So, and the buffs on the third skill actually last 7 seconds. So what you can do is, instead of doing 3, you only sacrifice and you only do less damage on your very first rotation. Or you can choose to do less damage on your second rotation. So, but just for the simplicity of explaining it, I'll show you the first rotation without the buff. So you're basically just going to do 6, 4, 5. You're not going to do 3. And then at the end of 5, when she jumps up, you're going to do 3, and you're going to let 3 play out. Now, by the end of 3, your next rotation is ready, so you're going to do 4, cancel 5, and then for the duration of this, the buff is up because it's a 7-second buff, and then you're going to go right back into 3 to refresh your buff. Alternatively, what you can do is you can start with the 3, 6, 4, cancel 5, do that there, and then your next rotation, so the 3 buff will sort of end, and then your next rotation you'll do 4, cancel 5. Your second rotation will do a little bit less damage, but then you'll start with 3 again. You'll end with 3 again, and then you'll have it up for the next one, because basically this is a 7-second buff. This 30% attack, 25% defense. It's a 30% buff. Sorry, it's a 7-second buff. And so basically you'll just carry it over. Instead of doing it at the beginning of the rotation, right? Instead of doing it at the beginning of the proc for the 5 seconds, you do it at the end of the proc for the upcoming 5 seconds. It basically has the same effect. Let's get a full run in here with Betsy to see just how powerful this new mutant is and how she performs all the way through Knull stage 40. And we're actually going to... Yeah, we skipped the first cage with the co-op skill. I was hoping to skip it with damage. We were just a little short of that, but that's okay. Okay, we decided to use 2 there at the end because the proc was not activating. Sometimes you can do that after 4 if you realize that your proc hasn't started. And there we did 3 after 4 because, again, I sort of misclicked with my finger. Here we're going to have to eat this cage. I can't dodge it. Oh, we did somehow dodge it. That's weird. We dodged it, but we triggered our proc, so it's not really all that helpful. Okay, let's just continue here. No worries. We can change up to this modified rotation where we use 3 at the end. I honestly think the damage is like almost identical. We're going to wait here for the 5. Nice proc. Juicy damage. Very nice stuff. Now, one thing you need to make sure you remember with Betsy is, and I've stressed it, she's a bit of a glass cannon. Other content creators like free-to-play adventures have said it. So you want to switch on these phases where he jumps, because otherwise he can just absolutely one-shot her, and you're just gonna be left crying. It's pretty painful. Just gonna squeeze out a little bit of damage here. You also have to be careful here with these spikes, because these will also one-shot her. So unfortunately, Betsy does not benefit from... Yeah, see, I just took like 90% of my HP in one hit. Now I'm going to have to use 3 defensively. Okay, I didn't use 5 for some reason there. You had to use the co-op defensively. So this is this is an interesting sort of... Okay, that was a good ad-lib. The time is actually fine. We should be right around 3 minutes to 250 anyways. But that is what can happen to her in an instant. So you have to be very, very careful. You also want to try to back Knull into a corner, or Mephisto for that matter, when you're doing the 6. Because as you can see, Colossus and Mr. Sinister love to just hang out exactly where you cast the skill. And so if you... Oh, we lost our buffs there. No worries. Okay, here I'm gonna switch again because in the second phase, after he's done 1 round of that like wave attack, anytime he does the spikes, he will then jump next. And so you don't want to die on the jump. Believe you me, it's already happened. That could have killed me as well. As you can see, I took a bit of damage and it was like chunks. You're not going to get a full rotation here, so now would be a great time to use the 3rd skill. But yeah, you got to find opportunities to defend her and sort of protect her and use the 3rd skill to heal back up. But yeah, even with 95,000 HP, she gets chunked down very easily. So having a mutant on the team in the future that could protect her defensively. I know a lot of you guys are thinking Colossus. Yeah, that's definitely... for lower stages, if you're finding that you're dying, that's definitely an option. But you got to be very, very careful. Now, we have time here, but we don't have HP, so I got to be very so careful with Betsy. Make sure I don't die here. And we also have to make sure... So I made the mistake. I did a previous run where... I used the Transcended skill, and when you use that full rotation, you're going to take him from 12 all the way down to 7. The problem is you cannot do the Transcended rotation here. She will die. She'll take like half of her HP per hit when he's doing this charge up. So you actually do have to wait for the Thor stun. I know how that feels. It feels a bit annoying, and it feels a bit demoralizing here, but yeah, the good thing is he stands in place. So he can just take all this damage. So we squeeze him down to the last couple of bars here. Because he's not hitting us anyways, we don't really care about healing. We just need to string together 2 more rotations, and you can use the co-op skill for a bit of damage and then squeeze it out with 3. But there you go. She does stage 40. It's very tight, but this is also with a regular CTP of Judgment, not a Reforged CTP, and it's with not the best strikers. So... or not the best, buffs in terms of like White Fox and things like that. So obviously if you had the ideal team, then there are better characters to push World Boss Legend Knull for the agility tag. Like I said, Shang-Chi can climb up to 44, and then Spider-Man can also climb up to 44. However, if you don't have White Fox, then they're almost basically equal. It's a very tight race between the three of them, and then that's when her value is going to shine more, because then, you know, it really does skew characters at times to see which ones get the full access of buffs to which ones don't. But yeah, so that's really how it breaks down for Betsy. You can definitely use her with a proc. It's going to be a little bit harder. It's going to be a little bit less, in my opinion, a little bit less fun, because you can't always play out the third skill or play out the second skill and get those extra slashes. Just a lot of cool slashing skills with 2 and 3 that I would prefer to see with either a Rage or a Judgment. I would put Judgment above Rage because of the chain hit, the synergy with Pierce, and because you can reforge it, so she does have a higher ceiling, right? You can go to a Mighty Judgment, or if you love Betsy, you can go to a Brilliant Judgment. Can't do that with Rage just yet, but she's not a bad candidate for Rage at all because of the 30% guaranteed crit rate. And who knows, maybe there's been some people that have speculated that maybe at higher stages of World Boss Legend, Rage actually looks better because the bosses have much higher defenses, whereas Rage doesn't play much of a part in low stages, because low stages of World Boss Legend don't have that much defense. They just have a lot of HP and other factors. So it'll be interesting to see how much better she gets with an artifact. I also want to see if maybe I can test her with a Rage and the artifact, because the artifact does increase her crit damage, and Rage is predicated on critting. So there may be a hidden synergy there that we don't know of. There may just be a better synergy there. But yeah, I do think this is a fantastic rework for Betsy, and it really depends on your roster. You know, if you don't have these other buffs, these other buff characters, then Betsy's going to perform as well, if not better, than a lot of these other characters, and she's definitely in the running for climbing, because as you see here from the character requirements, she's going to be able to carry you for all of the hero stages, not the hero male stages, but any hero stages, any female stages, any blast stages, and then also any of the agility stages. So she actually has quite a bit, and then of course she'll come back at 50 with the mutant requirement. I do think that for this she's going to need a reforged CTP, and she may also need the assistance of another more superior mutant specific buff character like Dazzler, or someone to come in the future that is sort of like a mutant version of White Fox, if we ever get one of those. But yeah, definitely underrated, definitely something to look into picking up, especially if you like the way she looks and the way she plays. And I'm having a blast. So yeah, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.